Purdy is a guy that can make plays late in the down. But here's the question. And this is where the NFL's flawed. In baseball, for example, you'll hear people say, hey, I want to call up this prospect. He's highly rated. And then somebody else will say, well, there's nowhere for him to play. And the last thing you want to do is call up this prospect so he can sit on the bench, right?
Right.
This is the flaw of today's NFL. Trey Lance Trey Lance is a unique prospect. He didn't play. He's played 1 year of college football since high school. So you and I, whether we love him, think he's great, think he's just good, whatever, we're in total agreement though. He has to play to get better. This is the inherent problem. There's no place for him to play if you're going to prioritize winning at the major league level, at the NFL level. Are you talking about a farm system? Well, I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, in an ideal world, you would put Trey in AAA and let him play, and then let him build up that incredible talent, and let him make mistakes while you're winning. And then when he was ready to step in and really lead and win, you could promote him. But the NFL doesn't have that. The NFL has nothing like that. So all you really have to do, the only way to develop young quarterbacks is to play them and take your lumps, and that usually means not prioritizing winning because you're probably going to lose some games. The other thing is, I think one of the main reasons the Niners didn't go to the Super Bowl is that game was in Philly. If that game was in San Francisco, I think that would, or Santa Clara, I think that would have been maybe a different outcome. So now there's only one team that gets the bye. So it puts even more pressure to win, because you got to make sure that game against Philly, if you can, is here and not there. So I agree that Trey needs to play to get better. But I don't know that if I don't like, if you're Kyle Shanahan, who's to say, even though the Niners have been to 3 NFC championship games in the last 4 years, who's to say that he doesn't get dumped if they win 5 games this year, but they develop Trey? I think he's fearful, Coach, of developing Trey for the next head coach.
Yeah, that's what Larry.
Right? Don't you think that's it?
That is it. Nobody can say that in a press conference to Kyle. Nobody can say that. But that is, I wish all 49ers fans were listening to this show. That is the number one reason. People are talking about Trey's development. It's on Trey. The juxtaposition of Trey's development is Kyle's job security. They are linked together, right? And Brock represents a restart of that time. If Brock gets on the field, then Kyle essentially says, hey, we got this guy in the middle of the season. He played 8 games. He's coming off of a UCL injury. You got to give us time, no matter what it is. This is in the raw, right? I understand that we have a window to win, but if we don't win, there's so many excuses to having Brock as the starting quarterback. But if Trey starts, that's like, bro, he done been here 2-3 years. You're the offensive subject matter expert. You said that you could develop him. Not only did you say that, but you went up to 3, gave up 3 first-round picks for him, and he ain't ready. And then you know what's even crazier is that it's not even what Jed has to say or Dr. York, right? The public scrutiny of all 31 teams watching this will get Kyle fired, because it'll be organizational malfeasance if Trey is playing games and he is horrible and Kyle is just going unquestioned. And he doesn't want that. And then not only that, it's not only the fact that Trey leaves. I mean, Trey stays and another coach develops Trey, but it's also the same thing that we just mentioned with Coach Wilkes coming into this building. Why is Coach Wilkes here? He's here to coach our secondary. but he's also here to leave crumbs behind so we can understand how he develops secondary. We can understand how he scouts secondary. We can understand how he plays with it, how he calls it, how he coaches it up. It's all in the meeting rooms. We have his DNA on secondary is going to be all over that building. And whoever comes in after him, best believe they're going to be there with the Wilkes package, stimulus package. And the same thing is going to happen with Kyle. Kyle knows that he saved this franchise from the doldrums. He understands what him and John Lynch did for this team through not only, forget the quarterback, let's just talk about NFL cachet. You don't think that we have a leg up with John Lynch calling teams? You think nobody's going to pick up John Lynch's phone call? You don't think that nobody's going to be running here to get on this coaching staff with this offense, with Nick Bosa on this defense? Kyle brings so many other things to this organization just outside of that quarterback position. And he knows that if he starts this kid and he struggles, there's going to be somebody who's going to come in and not only get the credit for the quarterback that he had the guts to choose, but that guy's going to get the credit for developing him. That guy's going to get the credit for the team winning the Super Bowl and being good. That guy's going to get the credit for all of the developmental stuff and SOPs that Kyle put in this organization. And on top of it, that guy's going to get the credit for winning, being a winning coach. And this is the element of coaching. This is the business of coaching that fans don't necessarily have that much knowledge on, where Kyle is always thinking about the next one. Forget what's in front of you. He's got to be looking ahead. And if I'm Kyle, I don't blame him. I do not blame him. He's looking at Trey like, kid, at the end of all of this, coaches get fired, not quarterbacks. They spent the assets on Trey. And it would be malfeasance. It would be horrible. That's the one thing that the Niners don't want. They don't want to look bad. That's another reason why Kyle's got us by the short and curlies, because he's got us looking good across the league. He's revitalized and rejuvenated the logo, right? So one of the biggest things about us is that we're playing nice with Kyle from an organizational standpoint, because Kyle saved our bacon. But at the same time, we have the scrutiny of the rest of the community, the NFL community, on us to say, we cannot have you out here failing with the guy that you traded 3 first-round picks for, and we don't at least put you on the hot seat,
Coach.
So
there's so much there. There's no doubt there's a lot going on. Tyler says, Larry, our standard for this franchise is a Super Bowl win and bringing home another world championship. I'm a wrestling fan, and as Ric Flair once said, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Okay, you're real. I'm real. If